Manchester United 1, West Ham 0. Clinging on for dear life at the end there, you could say. Or you could say some excellent defensive work by Manchester United to keep that lead, to win the game. The only team in the Premier League to not drop any points from winning positions this season. Really? That is a very, very good backbone and sort of mentality and stat to have on your side when it comes to those sort of difficult matches. The Everton game was similar, where we had to sort of weather the storm at the end. Another game today where it could have all sort of fallen away before our eyes. Hanging on for that win was massive, wasn't it, Joe? Yeah.
Listen, what 3 points that is. What important 3 points to the season as well. The momentum that will hopefully swing in our way will be so important for us. We've got to try and get more goals, but that's another story, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, on Stretford Paddock as we build up to our next match. But the fact that at the end, when the full-time whistle went, and our players got in each other's faces like they did and were hugging, the team spirit was massive. It just shows a united team that is bonding and that is looking out for each other. And that's what's key, is that these players are playing for each other rather than these individual talents that are trying to maybe further their careers elsewhere. They've all buying into this Ten Hag way, and that 3 points was so important. Yeah. De Gea, what a save at the end, and even a clearance by Maguire and Delo just before that, which looked like it could have just stumbled in.
Yeah.
Great 3 points.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts on that game. It was just, I mean, we'll start at the end, obviously, because that's where our heads still are.
Yeah, exactly.
That last 15 minutes was real backs to the wall stuff, wasn't it?
And I just like, it's not something that would have happened last season. Last season, we'd have conceded. And like even today, when people are thinking, oh, Maguire's coming back into the team, you know, we know what happens when Maguire and Martinez play with each other. But even Maguire today at the end, just some unbelievably important headers, blocks. Dalot was making blocks, Martinez was doing his thing, and David De Gea proving. I mean, I'm one of these people who will criticise David De Gea. I'll hold my hands up. I'll criticise how he makes mistakes. He's not good on the ball. He's not great in the air. But this today, what he showed, putting out those world-class saves, that's why he's always first in the team sheet. And I'm buzzing. I'm still a bit nervous.
Yeah, I've still got
it feels a bit like that, doesn't it?
I still feel a bit stressed.
Yeah.
I feel relieved,
I have to do some
but also
breathing
stressed.
exercises.
Let's go back a little bit then. First half, more typical of United's recent games. It felt almost like the Newcastle game a little bit more, where United had more of the ball, had more shots, but it was a bit of a cagey game, and they had their moments, didn't they, West Ham? But first half, United looked sort of typical of how we've looked over the last few weeks.
There was a lot of back and forth with us against West Ham, but when we got in, we looked more clinical. There were some good chances. I thought Rashford played really well in the first half. Bruno getting really stuck in. Kind of dwindled in the second half, but especially Eriksen looking sharp, and the ball that he played into Rashford for that header was perfect. Absolute world-class set of movements there. If it was the cross and the header that Rashford scored, so important to get a goal. And I think that what we did better than West Ham is our attacking players made the most of when they had the ball. And we weren't going up against a defence made up of absolute fighters, and which our defence is. Absolute. Delo, Martinez, characters sure changing things up. Maguire stepping in, characters that are just like, we're not letting a single goal in it.
It was good to see that, wasn't it? Especially when you've got players who, last season especially, and in Maguire, Shaw, Dalot was almost sort of off the radar, regardless of sort of almost outside of criticism, because he was just not really apparent. Luke Shaw, Maguire, De Gea all took so much stick last season, and I know that Martinez has been incredible, and I think he was probably our best defender today again. But those 3 or 4 players around him were also excellent today, weren't they? And it's only right to shine a light on that, as much as we would criticise them in the past.
100%.
Maguire and Dalot in particular, I thought were absolutely brilliant in those last 15 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. Like, everyone's criticised Maguire, and, at times rightfully so, but we have to give him credit today because some of those headers, couple of blocks there. And the thing is, he didn't have, like, the best of games. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. But it was just at the end, when our backs were against the wall, when we needed him the most, that's when he just produced.
Just a couple of stats for you.
You've got to give him credit for that.
Clearances, Maguire, which was 3 more than anyone else on the pitch. He also had the most headed clearances of anyone on the pitch. Just the sort of stuff you expect from me. He had the second most blocks of anyone on the pitch. Just defensively, it was just that is the sort of performance that he thrives in. I think those last 15 minutes where, if you're a team crossing the ball into a box over and over again, trying to win headers. That very specific thing. There are very few defenders you would want to be playing against less than Harry Maguire, isn't it? Because that is the thing he's really very good at.
I honestly think the best thing for Harry Maguire would be if they took the pressure of being captain away from him and he focused on being a defender. He wasn't a captain in that game. He was a good defender. If we take the captain's armband away from him, we'll go, listen, focus now on being the best defender you can be. That's when we get the best out of Harry Maguire. And I think that maybe is something to look at, because he needs to focus on that rather than leadership on the pitch, because he can't lead on the pitch, and we know that he's not going to be one of the United greats in terms of being a captain, but he could be up there with a good defender that we rely on when Varane and Martinez, one of them maybe fell injured. There was glimmers of it today. Yeah. I think that badge holds so much pressure, and you can imagine holds so much pressure on it that it really gets on top of him. Yeah. I say we take it away from him and the focus, go be a good defender.
I think as well now we're used to, as fans, we're used to seeing Bruno Fernandes with the armband. I think the transition now to take it off Maguire wouldn't be as newsworthy. Obviously, it still would be newsworthy. It'd still be a big story. But if you'd have stripped it off him while he was still first team every week, it's like, oh my God, he hates him. Whereas now it's like, he don't play when everyone's
No.
I don't think now's the right time to strip him of the captaincy. Because if you think about it, his confidence is so low, and you hope that after today he's going to take loads of confidence. If you take the armband away from him, that might damage his confidence again. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's never a right time.
He's not a good captain.
You're right. But
he didn't lead at all.
He doesn't play much.
He was good defender.
Hey?
He's a good defender. He's good. He's a great defender if he's up to it. I just think that added pressure that captaincy is just something that doesn't. Plus, he doesn't. He's not even a captain in the back four. Martinez is.
Yeah, you're
He's
right.
a leader. At the end, grabbing De Gea, and he was fighting with Luke. He was fighting on Luke Shaw at the end.
To see
he's
that,
he's a born leader.
Oh, I love Dallo.
So when you then put Maguire, who's actually the captain next to him, he looks a little bit overshadowed in his back four.
I think.
So
I agree.
When you have defenders in your team that you love, that is a very good sign of a good team, I think. Do you know what I mean? Like we loved Vidic. We loved where he put his head and stuff
Ferdinand,
like that. And Ferdinand, in a different way. But it's like Martinez, Dallo, just love him right now. Yeah. And that's a good thing.
I've seen a little bit of criticism that I want to bring to the table. Just about Fernandes looking a little bit off it today. And that's the only little criticism you can say in terms of an attacking player.
Second half, he looked a little bit like he was back to his ways of being a bit wasteful. Do you know once the kind of attacking control went out of the game and we were kind of just playing in transition, it was almost a bit more like you were using the footballer's brains rather than Ten Hag's brain through a system. He looked a bit more wasteful again, and like he just going for those sort of big long balls down the wings and stuff. I didn't think he was brilliant, but I don't think he had a bad game particularly. Just go through a few super chats. Vader says Lisandro Martinez is absolutely world class. I'm convinced of it.
He's brilliant.
It's just regular Vader, pre-Lord. But Martinez is brilliant, isn't he? Abhinav Verma says, honestly, Ronaldo and CR37 don't suit the system. H, I guess that's Harry Maguire.
HR7.
HM7.
Sam Z says, if we get a striker in January, we can finish second to City.
Wow, what a fucking
or Arsenal.
Considering Arsenal just battered
might finish above City.
Martian says, do any of you also not worry about any high-profile players on the attacking side and the opposition side anymore? Seems like we can handle anyone. Haaland was the one that I worried about, and obviously he scored a hat-trick.
Foden as well.
But less so. I don't think, oh God, this is going to be, ex-player versus Maguire.
Well, look at Kane. He came to Old Trafford, was quiet for a bit.
Do anything.
Like Nunes and Salah, like when we play Liverpool, I back our defenders against them. Yeah, I genuinely do. I have to say as well, Casemiro today. Yeah, we haven't mentioned him. He was
silent but deadly.
He was.
Joe's farts.
How
dare you?
Well, there you go.
He was very good. Scott Hansen says De Gea future being questioned, and he does that with a fire emoji. It was an excellent performance from De Gea, wasn't it?
It always happens. It always happens like this, where you just think, oh, De Gea, going forward, and then bang, we all go, wow.
Yeah,
it was a couple of.
Keeps happening.
There was a header about 10 minutes before the end that, you mentioned, Dre, that some goalkeepers wouldn't even go for.
Yeah,
they would have
yeah.
thought it was done. Do you know that kind of like goalkeeper, like look,
Yeah,
like glance?
they go.
De Gea, yeah. They turned the red. De Gea, bye, let's get my hand on this, and he blocked it. And then at the end, again, great shot. It teed up so nicely for the West Ham player. Who I don't know.
It was Rice. I thought it went in.
Teed
Genuinely.
up so nicely for Rice because of like the sort of chaos of like the defenders trying to get the ball away. Rolled out so perfectly for a beautiful dink, and it was a good dink by Rice, but hand on it, De Gea, bang.
Unbelievable.
Let's go.
Great save. This is a good point from Fergal McClements, who says Dalot stopped so many of the balls that we used to concede to so much. Do you know
was different
there was this
gravy.
period of the last couple of seasons where balls played to the back post and our fullbacks just weren't on the attackers.
Yeah, like Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka sure went through that spell as well. There was 2 or 3 times where they were playing balls to the back post for Antonio, and Dalot's just getting in front of him, nodding the ball away, getting in front of him, nodding the ball away. And Martinez did it on the other side as well once, from a corner. But just staying with your man, tracking your man better. It must be coaching. It must be, because knowing where to be and consistently winning those headers in difficult areas, that's not by accident, is it? That's not coincidence.
I think it's
that has to be coaching, and maybe confidence as well.
Because, an unconfident Dalot maybe wouldn't be winning those headers. But, the season he's had so far, he's just growing and growing and growing and growing, and it helps you as a player.
Yeah, definitely. It's just does look better, doesn't it, defensively?
Defensively, we look miles better. Dalot stepping up looks like it's attitude as well, and. There's just little scrappy things. Like you say, it must be coaching, because it's not just luck. It looks sometimes the ball just falls in the right way for us, or we just get the right clearance there, and Dalot just seems to be in the right positioning.
Steve McLaren,
and you could say like a one-off one. That would just be like footballing luck, but no. When it's constant throughout the game, there's got to be coaching, it's got to be practice, but it's also got to be the players individually looking out for each other.
Yeah, definitely. Spirit.
Just on Marcus Rashford's goal, then, because obviously the end of the game felt stressful and nervy. Great cross from Christian Eriksen. Phenomenal header as well from Rashford, beating his man in the air. So much criticism after the Newcastle game. Never been particularly prolific in the air. But that's 2 goals in 2 games, both headers for Rashford now. That's a good sign, isn't it, that he's either practicing or he's doing something to bring that confidence up, if nothing else. But the quality looks better as well on those headers.
Well, I mean, we said it earlier on. He said not too long ago he wants to be a number 9.
Yeah.
And Marcus Rashford is an idiot. He's going to be grafting. He's going to be thinking, what things do I need to add to my game to be a top number 9? Yeah. He's got Cristiano Ronaldo around him. Someone who was very similar in the sense that he was like a raw winger, great talent. But Ronaldo wasn't scoring headers in his early days. Rashford knows he needs to add that to his game, like Ronaldo did, and then became one of the best headers of the ball in football.
It's crazy.
And it looks like he's doing that now. Like, I used to joke with my mate at the game last year. Like, Rashford just will never win a header, and he just never did. I don't remember seeing him win 1 header at Old Trafford last season. But he scored 2 great headers in 2 games
Both
in the league.
Difficult, or certainly that second one today was a difficult header. We have got some Rashford merch available.
Yes, please.
If you want to check it out there, you can see it. Head over to paddockmerch.com. Check it out. If you fancy it, make sure you go over and grab some.
Christmas is a coming.
Christmas is a coming.
You better get it quick.
Check out the old Rashford Hope merch. Look at that. Lovely stuff. Right, let's have a look at a league table, because we need to have a little look at this.
Come on, league table. Can you pull it up, please?
United, there you can see.
Just pulling up. Can you pull me off?
Later. There you can see Man United, 5th, 12 games played, 23 points, pulling away from Chelsea now, or giving that bit of breathing room from Chelsea. 1 point behind Newcastle with a game in hand, 3 points behind Tottenham with a game in hand. We've also got a 9 worse goal difference than Tottenham, so even if we win that game in hand, we will go even points with Tottenham. Not going ahead of them, obviously, because unless we score fucking 10 goals, which I very much doubt.
Get battered 8-0.
We've gone from being in a position after that Brentford game of looking like everything's kind of crumbling here, or continuing to crumble from last season, to now within sniffing distance of 3rd, and actually we're only 6 points off Man City with 12 games played.
Here's my point. You look at progress. Now this season, I think we're hopefully going to get top 4. But let's just say next year we don't lose 2 on the bounce. We get wins against Brentford away, and we pick up our first home game. That means on this table here, we're now amongst it with the top 3. That's how you progress from being top 4 to getting in amongst the title race.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be this season. We just got to keep going for that top 4 spot.
Yeah.
But if we get players in and we bring in the right players, then we start talking about it next season.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we will go into hopefully the World Cup with a great position, and it would be perfect if it's top 4.
Yeah, definitely. John Mell saying, really need a reliable striker. I think there's a couple other positions on the pitch. I think reportedly Ten Hag's after a new right back, maybe a goalkeeper.
We need goals.
But I think in terms of turning this team from challenging for top 4 to challenging for more
goals,
we need goals, don't we?
Definitely.
We're still lacking that number 9 that's going to get us 35 goals a season.
100%. I mean, I was saying it in during the watch along. I mean, if we're clutching at straws, maybe Ronaldo can get some fitness back during the World Cup and come back and be a better player, a little bit like he was last season.
Yeah.
But, I was saying it as well in the watch along. Martial, he's having problems, and he always has done at his time at United with his fitness and keeping fit. And, you can't rely on that. We 200% need at least one more striker. I'd even say we might need 2 more strikers.
Bring him on.
Get him in. It's just important that the club notice that. Because we know what the club's like. They might be thinking, we're on the up, we can save a bit of money, not give the manager that much back in January or this summer coming. But we have to. We have to get another centre-back, and we have to get another 2 strikers, because you're right, we need more goals. We can't be winning 1-0 all the time. There will be many games when we're holding on to a lead and we don't see it out.
Yeah.
The way you deal with that is by getting another striker who's going to score more goals.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be all from us today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Love that.
Fantastic
Tops
performance.
Buzz
from
in.
United. Another win. Unfortunately, ruining that win.
I love the graphic.
Little routine that we had going there, but I'm happy to say it was another win to break it. Up into the top 4. Well, within sniffing distance of the top 4 now.
Smell it.
Newcastle just in our sights, and we've got a game in hand. Just before we go, we do have a quick quote from Marcus Rashford. It's a completely different energy around the whole club, and I feel more motivated now. I'm in a better headspace. I struggled at times last season, more mentally things, not my performance, but things off the pitch.
Well, that's good to
the
see.
Biggest difference.
He's
That,
doing
I
better.
think, encapsulates how it feels watching Man United as well. Things look different. They look more motivated. They look more confident. Holding on to big wins like that, players like Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez making a big difference in that dressing room and on the pitch as well. Thank you, Joe Maguire, for joining us. Where can people find you?
Go and find us on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. Go and check that out. Go and just search Sloppy Joe's pod after you've digested all the United stuff.
Thank you very much. Dre,
you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Adrelb. DRADRELB.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Make sure you check him out over there. Stick around. We will be hearing from Stephen House and Adam McCullough as well, and Andy Tate after the game. So make sure you stay tuned to Stretford Paddock. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you check out paddockmerch.com. We've got Rashford stuff, we've got Ten Hag stuff, we've got Martinez stuff, we've got everything on there. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in a bit.